The first recollection I had of quarries, because I was born up in Straits in Easton,
Yep.
and Bumpers Lane was thriving then, you know. We used to walk up to the end with our little scooters, you know, and watch out over the edge, and they were drilling. And Arthur Wallace was there blasting the other side of the quarry, you know, yeah. Watching the rocks come down like that, you know, and it was quite interesting, you know. So we were brought up, and we lived in the quarries basically when we were younger, you know, on our bikes, and we'd get our bikes from the quarries that were dumped over there, you know. To start with. And my brother and myself were up there for, I don't know, it must have been a good 8-9 months, taking the top off, you know, with Frank on the cat, Dave Hedgeman, Portland plant, dozer.
How did you take the cap off? Did you blast it or did you drill it? Or?
When we got down to the slag, it got awful difficult to move, to take off. So Kevin came up and said, because I was also interested in the slat myself, you know, because we had a farm, a haulage yard over the road, Limekiln Farm, and I was interested in the slat myself, you know, and I asked the Pultneys if I could have some. They said, just take it, because I was taking the top off anyway, you know, that's all they were interested in, was a block stone. But it was quite an exciting time for us, because it was going to employ us for, you know, a couple of years at least, you know, because we knew as they expanded, the lorries were going to get bigger and the loads were going off. Someone was advertising for a job, this is in the 90s, for a London driver to go into London, early starts, you know, that's all they put. They didn't put a company or anything, and it turned out to be Albion Stone. And they said, can you get up early and all that? And so I said, if you ring your quarry manager up, Pump Saunders, I'm sure he'd give me a good reference, you know.
Fantastic.
Which he did. And then 10 minutes later, he rang me back and said, can you come out and see me? I said, yeah, of course. And they said, you can have the job, you know. But that was another good time. I think I was only employed there for about 6 months, that yard. And I had a couple of trips down to Portland, but it was mainly all in the city, London. I wrote some of the names of the jobs that I can remember, you know, what they did. Horse Guards Parade, Southwark Bridge, and there's a couple of they only employed 1 or 2 stone fixers at that time. But that was also interesting for me, because I got round to see, you know, the best part of London, if you like, into the city. And also, now and again, out wherever, you know, Sandwich Tollbridge, for example. As you know, Portland stone is everywhere, isn't it?
But isn't some of the flues working for the stone firms now?
But I grew up with Stephen. He worked at Sheep Quarry with his dad.
I was really interested in Shept Quarry. Is it Shept or Sheep?
Shept Quarry. Right.
Yeah.
And Nicky Gould said it's Sheep. Yeah. And his dad said it's Shet. So they were arguing between them what it was called, you know.
I heard that the stone there went to Edinburgh Art Gallery. Yeah, the stone on the floor.
Yeah, lovely.
On the floor of Edinburgh. It'd be fantastic to remember where you took the stone to.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I just bought a notepad and I'm writing out on the back, because between Plant and Commercial Service, Portland Plant Hire, Dave Hedgeman, Wool Transport, Malcolm Hedgeman, there's a lot. I spent 40 years in London with the lorries, you know, until I retired. The buildings, the prominent buildings are all there, obviously, you know, keep going for maintenance and what have you, you know, and different things. As for new faces being put on them and whatever, you know, but there was also a yard, what Jeff Smith opened in East London, which I also worked for about 12 months. He got that business lifted off the ground. It was Ashby and Orner stonemasonry. Jeff had a job for practically rebuilding number 8 Bishopsgate after the £500 bomb went off. The IRA set off, you know, must have been around 1983 or something like that. I can't really remember the date of that. And I had a hell of a job getting in there, you know, and into Bishopsgate. I used to come over London Bridge. I had a little 12-volt kettle in the lorry, and I used to put that on, and the 2 Irish tower crane drivers, I used to give them a cup of tea, and they used to really appreciate it. Plus, I used to get loaded or unloaded quicker, you know, by doing that, you know. But I've got some good memories of both of those jobs, what I did, you know, working in, on behalf of Albion Stone and Jeff Smith, you know. Jeff Smith employed me for 12 months and Albion, I think it was about 6 months. And as I recollect or look at old London maps I have, you know, I remember some of the jobs I've been to. It was interesting for me because I found it very easy going into London, you know, where some people don't. You can drive into London midday and it can be a nightmare. I drove into London, you know, at 7 a.m. or I arrived at 7 a.m. and it can be as clear as a bell, you know, more or less. You can get to your destination, just park up and go and get yourself a cup of tea somewhere and wait for the fixers and what have you to come in, you know, with no stress. And also you could see all of London, you know, in its glory, coming up through the River Thames, you know, by Nine Elms Road and all that, you know, over the bridge, and that's it.
Brilliant.
Very nice experience.
It is. I mean, you know, obviously it was Wren that made it famous, wasn't it? Wren wanted to build the whole city from Portland.
But I find it interesting what you said about the carvings, what you did, and we took them down to the Cobb in Lyme Regis. You know?
Oh, that was funny. That was hilarious. Do you remember, the boulder contract? And we had the students working on massive boulders that were carved. And then what happened is Steve came and dug them all out, took them to Lyme, and then we got an email recently saying, what are these ancient heads? Because some of the heads were half carved, and people thought they came from some kind of...
Yeah, but there were some as well that went to, more recently, went to Bournemouth.
Yeah, we got
to a sea defence in Bournemouth, and they have like a concrete structure and they put in all this rock armour down at the bottom of the concrete, and it's all got these little faces and things like kind of looking up, like little hands and figures and things, and somebody said, like, where have all these carvings come from?
and there've been kids, and there've been community, and there've been youth students, and you know, they've been too big for them to take home, so we...
Yeah, I suppose they would, yeah. I ride through Tate quite often now on my bike, and I often go in your little shelter over there, you know, and feed the robin. There's a little robin comes and visits me. I sit there and eat something or other, you know, and just drop a few crumbs, and he follows me around the quarry, you know, this little robin.
Oh, sweet. That's typical Quarrymen'S stuff as well. I just love the way they did that. But they always gave some of their lunch to the creatures. Yeah.
They, my granddad, they used to farm out the Bill, you know, that family, Hines. And we'd often walk out to Portland Bill, you know, and we'd have a drink at Culverwell and all that, and like doing press-ups on the pool there, you know, drinking water. Wow. If you said you was thirsty, that was your lemonade, you know, if you wanted. Fantastic. If you got thirsty, you know.
Is that fresh water?
I don't know. It's probably water running through a dung-filled cow field. My mum was born in Gypsy Lane. It used to be called Providence Place before Gypsy Lane. And then the Hind family, my granddad, my mum, and their sisters moved to 93 Reform, just over at Reform there, you know.
Great.
And when my mum got married, they ran an off licence in Straits, you know. And my dad was actually a dump truck driver for Bath and Portland Stone Firms when they had the Foden dump trucks, you know. I think they had a few, and they kept their lorries just up the road there, you know, where Chisel Beach Motors is now.
And where do they drive to, the west, from Bath and Portland? When they had the dump trucks, where did they drive to?
They were at the cliff there, you know, Bumpers Lane, and run into the crusher.
Right.
You know, that's what they bought the dump trucks for. Grandad was a welder in the end. He started as a quarryman. I think he was an apprentice quarryman there.
Yeah.
That's him there, Bill Hind, William Hind. That's William Hind Senior, and I think that's Tommy Hind. And I think it's cotton fields where they were quarrying there, which is where Tesco's is now, before the sawmill, I think, or just by the side of the sawmill when that started up. And he also collected a lot of fossils for the museum when that opened.
Yeah.
And took them, you know, if he'd find fossils
That's
and
great.
what have you, take them over to in the 30s, you know.
Fantastic. And what are they doing there?
That is a cartwheel, a horse and cartwheel.
Oh, I see.
And they heated it up in the blacksmith's yard. It's down Weston. That slab is still there down in Weston.
Great. Wow.
And
What they heated it up on?
Yeah, that's it. They heated the rim up, and three of them would carry it out, plonk it on, and then just chuck water over it, you know, to cool it down so it would grip the wood.